I'm Jason, UFC, and today we have a story about UFC middleweight contender Bo Nickal calls Khamzat Chimaevs wrestling trash. I wouldn't even say it's mid. Okay, wow. Bo Nickal does not rate Khamzat Chimaevs wrestling very highly, although Chimaev has looked unstoppable with his grappling throughout his MMA career. Multiple-time NCAA Division I wrestling champion, Bo Nickal was rather critical of Khamzat Chimaev's wrestling skills. It's trash, Bo Nickal said in an interview with Clash of Combat. I wouldn't even say it's mid, as the kids say. Bo Nickal, who is 5-0 in his MMA career, 2-0 in the UFC, has called out Khamzat Chimaev on multiple occasions and thinks a future showdown is inevitable. An unbeaten rising star himself, Bo Nickal continued to tear through the middleweight division when he needed just 38 seconds to knock Val Woodburn out at UFC 290. Okay, this is what Bo Nickal says. At the end of the day, I feel like I can say whatever about his wrestling skills, his fighting skills, this and that. We are going to fight at some point and people will realize there's levels to this game, Bo Nickal says. It's just so funny. You go into a world of MMA where there's no other sport where people know less and think they know more. Oh, wow, he's taking shots at the MMA community. Okay. Khamzat Chimaev was 12-0 in his MMA career, 6-0 in his UFC career. Wow. Returns to the middleweight division to take on former title challenger Paulo Costa, who's 6-2 in his UFC career, at UFC 294 on October 21st in Abu Dhabi. October 21st, it's like 2 months away, okay? Bo Nickal actually picks, ironically enough, he picks Chimaevs to win that fight, but wonders how Chimaev will deal with Paulo Costa's side. Paulo Costa's a big boy. Now, this is what Bo Nickal says. I think it's going to be a good fight. Yeah, I agree on that. Bo Nickal said, I think Chimaev probably will. I think he probably will, win. It's definitely a different ball game when you go from 170 pounds to 185 pounds. We're talking about a different size human being. Because Chimaev has made 170 pounds on numerous occasions, Bo Nickal thinks he'd be too much for Chimaev. We'll see how he does. Bo Nickal continues. He's obviously a big welterweight 170 pounder, but it's a different size human. And to me, anybody who can make 170 pounds, none of these dudes are going to be competitive with me. Okay. Paulo Costa is a different story. I'm going to watch the fight and we'll see how he does. Okay, yeah, I mean, this is interesting. You got to give it to Bo Nickal keeping his name in the conversation. A nice win over Val Woodburn. But Bo Nickal, respectfully, as I've been saying, before his MMA, before his UFC career, and after, there are different levels to this game, and Bo Nickal is gonna have to defeat a lot. Not one, not two. He's going to have to defeat 3, 4 middleweights before we talk about, him giving a fight with Chimaev. Because Chimaev, from what I understand, if he defeats Paulo Costa, Israel Adesanya is out there saying that, Chimaev, with a good performance, could jump DDP Dracus du Plessis, which is very interesting. The next pay-per-view for the UFC it's for the middleweight championship. It's Israel Adesanya versus Sean Strickland. I think everybody's kind of looking past that fight already. I don't think anyone is really giving Sean Strickland a chance to win that fight. So, I'm just going to watch it and see who wins. But, it's going to be interesting because let's say Paulo Costa is too much for Khamzat Chimaev. We have not seen Khamzat Chimaev in a ring, in the octagon, in over a year. His last fight was at a catchweight fight versus Kevin Holland. It was basically a flawless victory, first round submission over Kevin Holland. I think it was a 180-pound fight or something like that. But we have not really heard a very specific reason as to why Khamzat Chimaev has not had a fight since last September. So what does he look like in a fight versus Paulo Costa? But ironically enough, the last time Paulo Costa was fought, I think it was last August, right? Was that versus Luke Rockhold? And neither of them looked too good. That was at Elevation, but neither of them looked too good in that fight. The Paulo Costa fight. So both of these fighters are coming off of a very long layoff, but we also have to see what Khamzat Chimaev looks like in the middleweight division, so we have to see there. Bo Nickal, in his last fight versus Val Woodburn, he knocked him out in like 38 seconds. So we haven't seen too much of his wrestling in the UFC. But I would like to see Bo Nickal on that UFC 295 card in MSG, scheduled John Jones versus Stipe Miocic. It would be interesting to get a Bo Nickal on that card. It would be interesting to get an Ian Gary on that card. We'll see what that card looks like. But let me know your opinion of this story. Do you agree with Bo Nickal that Khamzat Chimaev's wrestling is trash, but it's good enough that he's going to defeat Paulo Costa? It's going to be a great fight. 2 months away. The build-up is going to be insane. We have to keep our eyes on the next fight, Israel Adesanya versus Sean Strickland. The winner of that fight, do they fight Dracus du Plessis? Do they wait for the results of They're most likely going to wait for the results of Khamzat Chimaev versus Paulo Costa at UFC 294. I'm Jason, UFC. Today we had a story about UFC middleweight contender Bo Nickal calls Khamzat Chimaev's wrestling trash. Says, I wouldn't even call it mid. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the $1 donation button. And please tune in to the next video on this channel. Thanks a million for watching.